or Dave?
You're already spotlighted.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Grand River Woodturners Guild June meeting. I don't know how many new faces we have in the room here. I'm Doug Brinks. I'm the current president of the Grand River Woodturners Guild. And that's a job that could be yours if you want it someday. Just let me know. But in the meantime, I'm chugging on. Do we have any new people in the room or in the Zoom room that would like to tell us about themselves and what they're doing? I just joined today. What's your name? Okay, and you're new to turning? Have you got a lathe? Okay. I thought I saw you last month. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. How about online there, Bruce? You got anybody online there that's new?
No, these are all old farts that are online.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're in the room here, we are prorating our dues for the next quarter to $20. Hang on, let me turn this down just a little bit. So $20 will get you the rest of the year's membership to our guild. Did I turn that down too much? Okay. So if you're new in the room and you haven't paid your dues and you want to pay them, you'd see Steve in the back. If you are online watching this, you know, maybe you're seeing this on YouTube later, and you want to become a member of our group and get our invite and all of our information, you need to send right there it is. Send an email to that email address there, grwtg2008@gmail. If you send an email to that and say, hey, I'd like more information on your guild or possibly want to join, we will send you the information needed to join. I know the ticker tape at the bottom says $35, but right now we are prorating it for the rest of the year because we're halfway through the year already, so it's $20. So for $20, you can be a member for the rest of the 2022 year. Let's see, moving on. Let me grab my clipboard here. So let's say some of them, if you are a member here, we do have some benefits. We have a library out back where you can check out DVDs and books and stuff, and we got pretty good inventory of books and DVDs. So it's kind of right now, it's if there's just a notebook back there, or a little note card or recipe box, you can just pull the card out of the inside the book and write your name on it and put it in the box, and we'll know where that went. We can find you later if we need to wonder what happened to it. We also have a sharpening station back there that you can come in and sharpen your tools with. If you're not familiar with it's a Wolverine system. If you're not familiar with that, somebody here would be more than happy to help you sharpen your tools. Just let us know and we'll find somebody to do that. We also have a supply table, which is behind me here. This month we have tools there still. We had a bunch of tools that were donated to us from the Larry Truss estate. And so we're still selling tools back there on the table. We also have a lathe that he donated that we need to assemble and check it out, make sure everything's working. So maybe in the next couple of months we'll have a nice Nova lathe for sale that we'll probably auction off in some way, form, or shape. So that's coming up later. We also have the raffle table. So there's a lot of good stuff on the raffle table where you can buy tickets from. Who's selling tickets today? Ken, right? Yeah. Okay, Ken's doing our tickets today on sales. So if you want to buy tickets, look for Ken. And then we also have mentorship. We have mentors in the room. If you are looking for help with something or you need help with turning, we list them in our newsletter. We're kind of spread around town. And if you're looking for help and mentorship, you'll hook up with somebody, and I'll have people come out to my shop for a couple hours and work on whatever they're working on. Whatever they need help with, I'll try and help them out. And if there's somebody, if you're north of town, we'll find somebody north of town who's near you that you can hook up with them, go to their shop for a couple hours, and And we don't charge for that if you're a member of our group. So it's a nice little benefit. So, so that's all the benefits for being a member of our group. So once again, that online you don't get all those benefits, but you can still enjoy our wonderful company and our humor. So that's that. Moving on down, let's see, we have the ladies. Last month we had Ron from AZ Carbide here doing a demonstration on carbides, and he gave away a Pro Series carbide tool, his signature tool. Mike McClung won that. He is a member of ours from the Grand Haven area. This month, our demonstration today is going to be finishes. We have Tom Penninga is going to do his Grand Rapids grit with the Buell buffing system. We have another member in the room here. Ron has got some experience with Parfix, and he actually brought some in. So he's going to give us a little demonstration on Parfix. I think we have Doug Scharf in the room. He's also somewhat of a professional with Parfix. Between them, we will be able to answer any questions you have on that. And then in general, we'll probably just open up the floor for any questions people have about any kind of finishes. It's always a big topic that everybody has to deal with, you know, unless you're turning stuff and not finishing it, but pretty much everybody's finishing their things after they get done turning. So let's see, that's everything today. I have the piece that Cindy sent. It's over there on the table. We will auction that off right after, excuse me, right after our break. We also want to recognize two wood turners. Neither of them are here in the room today, but Tom Sampson and Ron Campbell, they both won awards at the Regional Arts Exhibition we have here in Grand Rapids. Tom Sampson won with his event Horizon, which I don't have pictures. I just didn't get around to getting them. It was just something that slipped. But anyways, and then so he won the Ron Den Broder Award, and then Ron Campbell has a piece called Clean Water Runs Blue, and he won the Grand River Art Award for that. So we wanted to acknowledge two of our turners for the awards they won at the exhibition. We're going to do show and tell. Everybody who participates in show and tell will get a raffle ticket. If you're in the room, we give you the raffle ticket. You can put it into anything on the wood table you want. Okay, and then if you're online and you do show and tell, we're going to take your name and we're going to put it on a raffle ticket, and we put it in a drawing for a $10 Woodcraft card, right? Is it Woodcraft? Yeah, we have a $10 Woodcraft card that we'll put your name in the drawing for that. So everybody who participates in show and tell gets into a raffle. So do we have anything else here that I need to discuss? Yes, Ken. Okay. All right, so when the break's done and we start our demonstration, the supplies will come down. Anchor seal, yes. Yeah, I think there was some on the table or not. There's more in the room too, so anchor seal, yes, we have. Tom. Oh. And I don't know how many people, a lot of already might have been there, but there's a room in the back here behind us. If you go back just before the truck ramp and make a left and then another left, there's a room back there where the guy was doing some woodworking. He has passed, and everything in that room is up for grabs. So go back there and look at the wood he has laying around in the corners and stuff. If you see something there you like, go ahead and grab it. If it's something you think was a great value, we'd be welcome to take a donation of some sort for that little benefit we gave you. Yes, Ray. I think everything in the room. Yeah. The cooler there, we need to move that cooler. It had personal stuff in it. Don't take the cooler with the guy's mail in it. Is there a lathe in there? Yeah. I'm gonna say I didn't see a lathe. But yeah, I think pretty much they want the room cleared out in the next 30 days. So okay, yeah, Steve grabbed that for himself. So okay, so anything else that I need to talk about here before we go into show and tell? All right, well, let's do show and tell then. I'll go first, and then everybody can line up down the side here, and we'll come out here, and you can put your show and tell on the table here and talk about it to the room. Steve, can you run this camera until I get done? Yeah, you can't get through there, Steve. I can start out here with just this front camera until Steve gets here. Um, this is a piece that Dave Curley gave me. It was a burl that kind of cracked up, but I did like the way it turned out because I have some holes here I was able to save when I turned it. This bark is just barely on. And the reason I brought this is I have a lot of people ask this. That's your camera, this camera. I'm going to the side camera. People ask me all the time, how do you keep your hollow forms from cracking? You know, if you turn those thin. Here's my secret. Can you get this, Steve? Turn your hollow form. You see I like to leave an inch here in this area, but if you turn that thin, so that under here is smaller than what your sidewall is here thick. So my sidewall is about, maybe 3/16 of an inch thick. So I cut that in 3/16 of an inch. When that dries, this will crack, but it won't go past that center part up into the base. I find that to be pretty true, even if I'm doing a hollow form with the pith in there. If I can turn that fast enough, you got to turn it all in one day, get that down here and leave. If I have the pith in there, I'll leave an inch or so, but make sure the bottom here is way smaller than what your wall thickness is. A crack won't go past that. It won't go up into the hollow form. So that was why I brought that in there. I haven't finished this off yet, but when I do hollow form classes online, people always ask me that. How do you keep them from cracking? Well, there's how you keep them from cracking. I also have a fish pump aerator. I drop the hose in here so it dries from the inside and the outside at the same speed. It almost probably dries faster on the inside, and that also helps to keep it from cracking. But it's down here at the bottom is where it's going to crack because you've got mass here. But I find if you get the bottom part here thinner than what your sidewall is thick, the crack usually stops at that piece. So I have like 6 of these sitting on my table. They all did the same thing. They all cracked and they stopped right at that point. So let me see. I cored a burl. Here's all my cores from this burl. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bowls. And here's my question to everybody who cores. How thin do you dare make this last bowl? This is the money bowl. You don't want it to warp beyond what you can turn. Every time I do these, I always wish I would have made that just a little thinner. But I had one time where I made it a little thinner and it warped beyond what I could turn. So it's just a question there. That's out there. You can talk to me about that later. How thin you dare go on that last one. I thought I went pretty thin on this, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I could have made that thinner and gotten another bowl out of that. So, and then when I was turning these were a little thin. This one blew up. I think my vacuum chuck actually imploded it. I didn't realize that this crack goes right through, and I can see it on all these bowls now. After it cracked, I'm like, oh, yeah, I see it on every one. It goes right straight through everything. I actually think I was taking the bottom off, and all of a sudden it just blew up. And I think my vacuum pump did that. So interesting. Here's another good reason to buy yourself a coring machine. I bought this burl for I think $80, 75 or $80. It's a white oak burl. I did a quick calculation, not including these 2 bowls. I'll probably sell these 3 for $1,200. So that pays off for your coring machine right there. 1 burl. If you're selling your stuff, And these things, these sell pretty good, you know. All you have to do is put burl on the card, and they're like, oh, it's a burl? I'll buy that. All right, who's next? Go ahead. You're the only one? I see other things on the table here. Go ahead. Go ahead. You guys get in line and I'll, okay. Hang on, we got people coming. Go ahead. Yeah.
I guess that's my usual thing, probably more carving than turning. It's a piece of white oak right off our property.
Can you turn it this way a little bit?
Sure.
Look at that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. I've been carving probably longer than I've been turning, and I'm not sure which is my major interest, but I like the basic bowl form as a place to display an image, which probably harks back to college and a Calvinist professor that I took a lot of art courses from. He was always concerned about that. This particular one, I don't know if it's a flower, an implosion, an explosion. Doesn't really matter. It's whatever it means to someone. I got lazy, didn't feel like sanding this, didn't feel like sanding the outside. I hit him with a wire brush. It took about 10 minutes and saved a lot of monkeying around there.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, this is just before the Festival of Arts. I had boxes full of partially finished pieces.
There you go.
And I asked my daughter if she wanted to pick out anything before I started selling stuff, and she picked this out, so I finished it up and came out fairly well. That's wipe on poly. That's only got 3 coats on it so far. This is a piece I did out of at Ron's retreat, Madrone. It's kind of neat stuff. When it dries, you dry it in a microwave, and it gets real irregular finish. I don't know how much that shows up in the camera, but it's kind of interesting stuff.
Stand behind the table. Stand behind the table.
Stand behind it.
There
There we go.
All right.
All right. This is a combination of open, segmented, and closed segmented, and then solid. It's something I was playing around with. It was not your standard open segment. It was just pieces that I glued together and then put them together. And this was a limb that a friend of mine's tree was cut down. It was a crotch. This maple. And then we have a couple pens where I used acrylic and burl combination. That's it. On the limb, that's wipe on poly. On both of them.
Okay, Bruce. We're going to go to the online people there, and I forgot to say, if you're online, you want to do show and tell, raise your hand digitally. Go to the bottom. Explain how to do that, Bruce.
You just go down to the bottom of your screen and click on reactions. And one of the options is raise hand, and that's what you want to take. So we have 3 already, Doug. Why don't we start out with John McGee? If
Okay.
he's ready, I'll spotlight him. You're ready to go, John. For some reason, we're not hearing.
Yep.
There
You hear
go.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a kind of a piece of junk alder. I was clearing some trees that had been dead for 2 or 3 years, and the bark is starting to come loose. And I thought, gee whiz, why do I have to mechanically braid or texture a piece when I've got that kind of cool looking bark? So I went around the limb and I squirted a little super glue behind the bark platelets so they would stay. Then I painted the whole darn thing with rattle can black. And then I took the chrome cream and put on silver and the I want to say Viking gold. So this box looks like that,
Wow.
and the bottom looks like that. I kind of like the way it turned out. It's just an old junky piece of wood. So I've got quite a few old junky pieces of wood in my wood pile now of various sizes. So I have a stock, but it looks like an interesting piece of antique something. And
Yeah.
the nice thing about it is the wood is so dry, it's well dried on the stump. It no cracks, and it's holding its form, no distortion, which is sort of nice and unusual as well. And on a larger box similar to this, I didn't bring it in from the shop, but I put a couple of the little button magnets in the lid and in the body, so that when I put the lid on, it snaps into the right position, so everything is lined up.
Cool.
So that's something you can do with Mother Nature's texture. Okay.
Thank you, John. Dave, would you like to go next?
Sure thing. All right. Share. All right, these are a couple of madrone burls pieces that I turned at Ron's retreat last weekend. They're both, there's no finish on them per se, but they both are coated with Ron's madrone juice, which is really just water that's boiled, madrone pieces in it, and then boiled down to concentrate the color. The piece on the right was actually a cutoff from the main burl, so it was no bark edge on it. I used a rotary carver to try and simulate an uneven edge, and then just burned the rim a little bit to try and make it look more like it was bark. But yeah, I agree with what Steve said. That's very interesting stuff to turn, and really cool to see it change shape when you put it in the microwave. And then here are a couple other pieces I did at the retreat. Dave Curley had a class on making owls, which was pretty cool. And I see he's scheduled to give the same course at I think the October meeting of the Woodworking Guild. It's pretty cool how he showed to turn the spherical heads. And then I had a hat making class, so I thought those two went together pretty well. And those are just unfinished, barely sanded. And that's it.
You don't see many owls with hats on.
Yeah, he's from down under, I guess.
So I guess I'm last.
Sure.
Close to spot. There I am. I got to do the same thing. I got to share screen. So this was an education piece. I had it at the Kalamazoo Club meeting last Saturday, and the way I termed it was, I've spent more time on this than I probably have on anything in my life. Between the spalding, which is absolutely gorgeous in it, but there's a lot of white rod in it, and that's the thickness. I've got hours and hours and hours, and I learned an appreciation for people that turn very spalded wood and finish it. There's definitely a technique to it that I've yet to learn. So this is about 16 inches across and it's about 3 inches high. And the finish on it is quite complicated. I started out with, because it was so soft, saturating it with shellac sanding sealer to harden up the wood. And once I got it to final form, because I was seeing this as something that somebody might actually want to put food in, I was using tried and true original finish. And there must be at least 4, 5, 6 coats on there. And it's almost like every coat made it look worse. It just was soft and kind of fuzzy looking. And so I ended up buffing in Yorkshire grit. And then once that dried up and cured, I buffed a coat of Canuba wax in it. And that brought some sheen up to it and made it look pretty good. So that's mine. Bob Elliott's got his hand up. Do you want to do a show and tell, Bob?
Yes,
Okay, hang on. There you go.
yeah, I've been busy, laid up for a while now, not being able to do much, but I got involved trying to learn to do turning sitting down. So I come up with some tree branches, fairly good size, that came down during the winter, and made myself a little tea candle with the flame on the top, and it'll flicker, but it's made out of a tea light.
Huh.
And was able to take, and this was bigger, I mounted it here, drilled it out all the way through with a drill bit to go through, big enough for the tea light, a little bit of solder and extend the wiring, and you stick the battery compartment in the bottom.
Fun.
And I've had some people ask me, and I'll probably end up doing it because I'm still stuck. The VA won't let me do a lot of stuff. They're going to replace a knee on me. Is the fact of making chess pieces out of it, out of branch wood. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I'm going to see what I can do on that. I've turned about 15 of these. They were Christmas gifts that I gave away before Christmas to relatives because they were inexpensive and something unique.
Yeah.
But that's what I have. It's a fun thing to do, and you can do it sitting down, which I have to do on the lathe lately. Thank you.
That's nice.
And Doug, we're back to you.
I'll use this mic. I think that wraps up our show and tell. We're going to, at this point, take a 10-minute break.